Hey guys, it's RodimusPrimal. I am back in another video, and today I am going to talk to you guys about the details of a roundtable discussion that I was a part of with Hasbro and the design team and a bunch of other fan sites. And we got to ask Hasbro a bunch of questions, and we also got an amazing toy reveal that I can't wait to talk about. So without further ado, let's sit back, relax, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Consider supporting the channel on Patreon, becoming a channel member, or purchase some merch on my spring store today. So, like usual, Hasbro brought us all in specifically to talk about Transformers Legacy and Studio Series. We were asked in advance not to speak about, or not to ask questions about Earthspark, and at least not too much, and not to ask about, Rise of the Beast, because the Rise of the Beast toy line has its own separate category, but we were able to ask specifically about the toys for Studio Series that are coming out for Rise of the Beast. So those are the kind of questions we were able to ask, and we were also able to ask things that, you can kind of already read just by looking at this, the type of stuff that a lot of us as fans really wanted to know. I will say this much. Hasbro does pay attention to, all of the message boards. They pay attention to, videos like mine. They pay attention to, the different streamers and websites and forums and whatnot. So they hear the questions and they hear the concerns that some people were asking about. And they know that some folks want certain figures to, they want like their favorite character or their favorite version of a character to show up, and you guys know, yes, I am a big G1 guy. I'm a Beast Wars guy. I like animated. I think animated, in my opinion, I like it. I like it better than Prime for a lot of reasons. Doesn't necessarily mean that I like, I dislike, that I hate Prime in any way particular fashion, but just in particular, those are the type of series. So when figures come out, I get excited about new figures for those characters, and I like to see them be able to fit in the shelf. So that was one thing about Legacy, is that all of these characters can now intermingle in the same universe, or they're coming through a portal and showing up in a similar universe to allow them to interact with each other. So characters like Bulkhead, they say it's Transformers Prime, but he seems to be crossed over with a lot more with animated, and I love the animated version of the character. So, and he kind of fits the aesthetic for generations in that respect. So, I like to see that intermingling of figures. But, so when you have figures come out like, Soundwave or Blaster was the question that, that I was wondering about, because we see with Rumble, Studio Series 86 Rumble had come out, and it's a fantastic figure. I'll tell you, I love the pile drivers. We know we're getting Frenzy. And so with the reveal of Twincast, we have a Rewind with that figure, and we already had Eject with Blaster. And I was wondering, hey, where are the rest of the cassettes? I would love to see an updated Studio Series 86 Ravage, and maybe an update to Laserbeak. Bring us Ramhorn and Steeljaw and those kind of figures. So Mark was able to answer that, and he actually said that they love to complete the mini teams, and they said they thought about the dual cassette mode. So the other thing is that I asked was, hey, what about Sound Blaster and Twincast having that dual cassette piece? Because the reason why Twincast, why he's not called like something else, the reason why he's called Twincast and why Sound Blaster is a similar mold, is that the chest was able to hold 2 cassettes. Well, the thing is that the Blaster sculpt is very clean, so they would have to re-engineer it in order for it to fit. The other thing is that there are some folks who are big-time Marvel Comics fans, and they love to have their Marvel Comics accurate head. And they had some back and forth. They were like, for Twincast specifically, they knew they were going to go for the Headmasters anime, so they went with the Smirk. And they would love to be able to get the toy accurate head in there somehow. But who knows, maybe they might do something where they release another character, another figure, and then release the Blaster head. And the discussion kind of went back and forth in some of the, we were talking with each other, and then we were chatting like on the side of a Skype call or a Zoom call. And one of the things that come up was what if they do circuit breaker has all of her heads on a wall, and you get the toy accurate Blaster head there. What's interesting about Blaster, though, if you follow the Marvel comics, is that he had the toy accurate head on Cybertron. He had the toy accurate head for when Bob Budiansky was writing for the comic, and then when Blaster got revived at the end of the comic, his design went closer to the cartoon. So it's kind of interesting to have that crossover between, versions of Blaster, and depending upon how you want it. The Studio Series Air Razor. This was an interesting question because they were talking about, well, is it coming directly from ILM, or where does it come from? And they said that ILM is not working with Paramount to make Rise of the Beasts. So the MPC is the name of the company. They made the animation models, and they sent them to Hasbro and said, okay, here are what we're making. Here's what we're trying to do for the figures. And then they get the designs back, and they kind of go, well, does this really work for the character? Does this work for the design piece? Does this, work for this? And so really, all of the design choices, all of what the characters look like in Rise of the Beasts, if you like it or if you don't like it, actually comes directly from, MPC, and, which is the name of the animation studio that's working on Rise of the Beasts, and of course Paramount. So really, that's the reason why the robots look the way that they do, is directly based on what they were looking to do. Air Razor specifically, does not use the same, anything from Kingdom Air Razor. So the Kingdom figure just happens to be they're using the same engineering to make a completely new figure. And they've done that before, where they use the same idea, designs for the transformations, and that's what they're doing with Studio Series Air Razor. So they were, of course, asking about toys or concept for the movie. And this instance, they said the movie comes first. So what they decide to do is they make the media and everything for the movie. Then they send it to Hasbro and say, hey, okay, Hasbro, make your toys. And Hasbro, has to look at it and go, okay, well, these designs look more transmetal. How do we incorporate that into the figure and try to make it work for the transformations? Because the thing is that the transformations for the movie and how they're going to work as toys are going to be two different things. How they interact with one another. So how you're going to have Air Razor is probably going to transform, or Rhinox or Optimus or Cheetor, they're going to transform slightly differently than you would expect them from the movie. And the reason for that is because the movie is just going to do whatever the heck they please, and not going to, look at the toy and go, okay, let's try to make it transform like the toy. So that's kind of like a good thing and a bad thing, but we'll see how it comes out. The Volvo Optimus, they cannot comment about whether or not it was supposed to be Amazon Prime. And I'm guessing that maybe the deal fell through for the crossover with Amazon, and so they decided to make it a holiday Christmas Prime. But they said that they're also going to be releasing the figure eventually, in G1 accurate colors. So I kind of want to see it where it's a little bit closer to the Hero Prime that came out late in G2, that had, that faced off against the Hero Megatron that was a purple tank. That would be kind of neat, but we'll see where they go with that. They mentioned that how long it takes to make these figures. They take 2 years. Actually what they said is that because of the pandemic, it takes a little bit longer, but it takes around 2 years of designing in order to get the toy from design into retail shelves. So all of the things that we're asking for now, all of the things that we're mentioning now, those are things that take about 2 years, maybe a year and a half, maybe less, before the figure actually comes out. They did take the feedback from Bulkhead and RC's designs to incorporate closer to what a lot of fans wanted with Skyquake. They also mentioned that they do want to tap into more universes. There is nothing off the table from them. They like car robots. They like Energon. They like Machine Wars. They said nothing is off the table. Now, of course, they have to spin that in a way to say oh, it's just this or it's just that. But I give them a lot of credit for saying yeah, for Transformers Legacy, we're trying to reach a let's make Transformers for everybody, right? let's make the G1 stuff that folks like myself, the 25% of all toy collectors who are adults who want the G1 stuff and have like a lot of G1 folks have disposable income, so that's what we want, right? We're 25% of the toy industry basically at this point. So yeah, give us the G1s, but also give us the animated, give us Prime, give us, people might want Energon or Armada or Cyberverse even. Like from what I've heard, like from some of the rumors, is that they're going to do some of the characters from Cyberverse and actually introduce them into the toy line. So if that's the case, great, cool. I know, like, Mark is always asking for Machine Wars. Evan likes, I noticed that he tends to really like the early 2000s, figures, Car Robots and the Unicron trilogy. So that seems to be like his bread and butter. And Sam seems to be a movie guy. That's just or maybe from the, also from that era too. So like each one of them have a different flavor and flair to them. That's great because it gives us a good mix of Transformers. The other thing was cool was that they said that Metal Hawk came like after the fact, like it ran into the production with Cyclonus. They looked at him and they went, yeah, we can kind of turn him into Metal Hawk, and they kind of figured it out. And they do that all the time with a lot of figures too. They said that, that at least one extra head is planned so that they can try to do something that brings a new character or brings a new version of that character into the mold so that they can make more figures. Also, the Junkyons, they really wanted to make the Junkyons just awesome. I mentioned that I believe Crash Bar kind of reminds me of Hulk Hogan with his mustache, the yellow chest, and I thought that was kind of funny. And of course, they wanted to make sure that the figures didn't break apart. Like, you were able to transform them without all of the Junkyons in Legacy. You're going to be able to transform them without having to take them apart. It's very much like Cup, but you can take them apart and put them into different pieces and make some different cool things and combinations. Russ said, I want to give a shout out to Toys R Us. He's a smaller YouTube channel, and he was on the call as well. He asked about weapons packs because, we got all that weapons pack. I believe it was during Siege or if it was during Earthrise. So it was somewhere around there. And we would love to see more of the weapons pack, especially the core class figures, since Skywarp doesn't have the arm blasters. And they said, well, hey, you know what? Maybe it might be something where they re-release that Skywarp with the arm blasters. That would be kind of neat too. But I've seen a lot of people doing the 3D printing for those arm blasters as well. Now, any plans to address retail exclusives of core characters that are hard to get? We are aware of the aftermarket. In recent times, Netflix, they don't have the exclusivity window for Soundwave is over, but Bumblebee, they would have to get the Volkswagen license again. So currently right now, that like Volkswagen, they said, is a good partner, but they could re-release Bumblebee, or they could do a new version of Bumblebee, maybe for Studio Series 86. They did not expect Cosmos to be popular. That's interesting. Very, very interesting. The Cosmos was unexpected. So now that Soundwave is no longer an exclusive, hey, either re-release that figure or do a brand new mold. And Evan mentioned that yes, maybe they might do a brand new mold for Soundwave for Studio Series 86 instead of just re-releasing that same figure, which would probably be better anyway, because I noticed that Studio Series 86 Rumble, the cassette deck, like actually getting him in Soundwave's chest is a little tight. So maybe they might make the chest just a little bit bigger, and they maybe making enough room to actually do Sound Blaster as well. That would be cool. Now, they also mentioned that the Studio Series versus the Kids line, they said Studio Series got helped by the delay of the movie. So Rise of the Beast, specifically, because it was supposed to come out in 2022, the figures were going to come out in 2023 regardless. But because the movie got pushed back a year, it ends up being that the figures come out at the same time. So now that the figures are, now that the movie's coming out, the figures are already ready to go. So that actually went to their benefit in that regard. The other question that was asked about was the cassettes themselves. Now, eject and rewind are made out of clear plastic. And Mark is very well aware of the joints with the clear plastic, and they do listen to people about the clear plastic. So they do try to make the figures a little bit thicker, to hold up over time. And they also are aware of like certain paint applications, certain colors. And with both rewind and eject, the reason why they wanted to go with the clearer plastic for them was because some cassettes are clear. And so it was kind of a neat idea. It was also to give Blaster that clear, both Blaster and Twin Cast, the clear window for opening so that you can see through it. That was kind of the intention. That's the reason why they went for the clear plastic there. But it is a possibility that both rewind and eject, and maybe Ramhorn, which is kind of goes back in line with the question that I asked earlier, was about the cassettes. Give us the rest of the cassettes, make them as solid plastic as they were, make them more accurate, just like the Studio Series 86. Like, I'll release it all for that. We'll definitely go for it. Now, Crash Bar, they were asking about the personality of the character. They said that there's not an official canon. They've been calling them cadets because they're smaller. But the thing about the Junkyons is that you can make them as interchangeable as you want to. And they didn't get into, I wanted to make sure that I asked about this, but I didn't get a chance to. It was one of my questions to ask, but kind of got skipped over, was about asking if the Junkyons could combine. And it doesn't seems to be that that's the case. And that kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, I'm still pleased that they, talk about like each one of them has personality, has character. And there was even talk in the chat about doing Rumage and Nancy and a whole bunch of other characters for the Junkyons. Because the Junkyons, that seems to be like they're going to be throughout Legacy, I think. They're like throughout Legacy Evolution, maybe some more. Maybe they might be doing a lot more Junkyons overall. Like, give us and who knows, we might end up getting like 20 different Junkyons by the end of it. So it would be kind of cool, definitely, because they can definitely reuse some of the molds too for different characters or colors, or give us a animated lockdown. That would be cool. They had to mention the fire truck in Robots in Disguise, or car robots. Fire truck was mentioned last live stream. Had to do it. Fire truck was not specifically mentioning RodimusPrimal or anyone else, just a general comment. Do appreciate the feedback. Robots in Disguise requests since the live stream, and in general, love for the generations other than Generation 1. Officially can't confirm or deny anything. So yes, Evan showed off the Robots in Disguise Rail Racer and build team, said he'd love to be able to do combiners from that era. So that means that, like I said to you guys before, Evan does really like car robots and the Unicron trilogy. So to be able to see those, figures getting made of is kind of cool too. I would like to see Sideburn specifically. And the reason why I would want to go for Sideburn is because he's such a I love characters like him. Like he's perfect for that particular show. But imagine Sideburn is chasing Road Rage. And you know where I'm going with this, because she's a red car. And, he sits there and tries hits on her. And she transforms and shoots a missile in his face. Like, I could literally picture that happen with a character like Sideburn. So I would love to see that particular character get made into a toy. Who knows? Maybe they might re-deco Studio Series Hot Rod into Sideburn. That would be kind of neat. So a new, I don't know where he's from specifically, but Juan, where are some of the favorite engineering the team has come up with for the modern lines? Evan said, Siege Hound was amazing, standardized articulation. Mark, things are working on now, can't talk about. So he can't talk about everything that they're talking about. But Skids to Crankcase was a good one. So they actually mentioned this. Skids was not planned to be turned into Crankcase. That was a fortunate accident in Mark's own design notes. So they were able to oh my gosh, we can totally do this. We can totally turn Skids into Crankcase. Yes, let's do it. And they did. G-Axis for turning making his robot to space jet work. Sam really loves the Junkion interchangeable vehicles, so that was a high point for him. I'll say this, I actually mentioned this when Evan mentioned Siege Hound. I asked him about Earth Mode Hound, because where is he? And then other people started mentioning detritus. And Evan literally gave me the emoji, meaning he can't talk about it. So that means we are getting an Earth mode hound, or at least we hope so. And we're probably also getting detritus too, which is fantastic, because detritus is a Decepticon Junkion. Perfect for Legacy. Awesome. So Wes Dixon actually asked, Rise of the Beast Cheetor, Beast Machines Transformation Inspiration. They were mentioning that it seems that they were closer to the Transmetal designs as far as the robots were concerned. And like I said, the way that the movie models were made, they were made for the movie, and then they were made into the toys. And before I get into the big reveal, Velocitron Hot Rod looks like he's not happening, which does suck for a lot of people. But he might end up showing up another time. I mentioned about Dirge. I was like, hey, where's Ramjet? Where's Thrust? What about Runabout, Sunstreaker? Certain figures that people missed out on. And they said, we want to try and figure out what we can do to bring them in. Maybe Buzzworthy, maybe an exclusive somewhere, maybe Hasbro Pulse, maybe during another wave and during a doing another package refresh somewhere. Because a lot of figures during Earthrise, people missed out on. So it kind of sucked. But hopefully we can get those figures in the near future. Now, and they do pay attention to how much these figures are going for on the secondary market. Soundwave was a consistent question throughout the entire roundtable. Like, we were all asking about Soundwave. Everybody wants Soundwave. We all love Soundwave, okay? So, yes, Hasbro hears us. They do want to make sure that we were somehow able to get Soundwave somehow, some way. And they said Dirge is going to be a straight re-release. Now, I do want to show this off. This is, in his vehicle mode, Origins Jazz. Right next to a G1 Jazz. Not Studio Series 86 Jazz, a Generation 1 Jazz. That's how good, of course, like the Toy Hacks labels do. And showed off his robot mode next to Skits. Now, this is going to be a Buzzworthy Bumblebee exclusive, which does suck for a lot of people because, well, let's be honest here. Not everybody has access to Target. Hasbro said they're going to try and do something. I do know they'll probably try to put it on Hasbro Pulse to try and get it out there for people who don't have access to a Target. But look at this. Brand new tooling. They said, not at all, does not share parts with Studio Series 86. It's a brand new figure. Faux parts, yes, on the chest, because they wanted to give it that accurate robot mode from the very first episode of the cartoon, where Jazz was in his Cybertronian mode. So we are getting him transforming into that classic vehicle. That is so freaking cool. You have to know, we did ask about Wheeljack. They just kind of like went, we hear you. They didn't answer. They didn't confirm or deny. It means that I had asked about this, I think it was last year, about Wheeljack. I said, you gave us Bumblebee. Where's Wheeljack? You want that box transformation? Yes. So maybe them giving us Jazz is kind of like the first step. They had to work out the details to see which ones that they can do. They got us Jazz. Maybe we'll get Wheeljack too. Jazz is awesome. I definitely want to get this figure. Oh, and something else that's cool about him is that his arms, the 5mm, when the arm flips in, you have a 5mm port there, and it comes with his grappling hook. They were not able to pass clearance for them to be able to use a string somehow. So he's going to have his blaster, and he's going to have a hook accessory that goes into there, so it can, kind of reenact the grappling hook that he used back in the day. So you'll be able to use that. What will be kind of neat is if someone's able to do something to be able to make that arm work with Studio Series 86, or maybe make something new that works with Studio Series 86 to give us the grappling hook too, because that's a really cool accessory to actually come along with him. So I'm very, very excited about that. And with that, I want to know what you guys think about this Transformers news. I know there's a lot more stuff that, like, you know, Hasbro revealed. It was like a news overload. There's so much stuff coming out, you know, this year to be excited about. And I think that I'm really, like, happy that Hasbro brought me in and brought other fan sites in to be able to ask these questions. We do try our best to ask what we can within the confines that they do give us, specifically because we know we want more combiners. We want more characters from certain eras, and we want characters to look like this or characters not to look like that. But of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I have many more Transformers news, reviews, retrospectives, and more. In fact, I have a new retrospective coming very, very soon, so you can stay tuned for all of that. And as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.